for the babies on the south side, the east side, the west side.
Hello, everyone. I am Maria Renee, also known as Coach T, and I am bringing you empowering moments with Coach T right here on Intellectual Radio. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am excited to be back here with you guys today. It has been, I think, like 2 months that I've not been with you, and I have missed being with you guys. So I am ecstatic to be here with you guys today. Let me just tell you, stay at home life has been, I don't know about y'all, but it has been awesome for me. I have enjoyed every minute of it. The idea of being able to do things on my own time, be on my own agenda, has been the freedom of a lifetime. I get up at 10 like I want to, instead of 7 trying to get dressed. I don't know. Besides today, I don't know too many times that I've actually put on some clothes and went outside, because I am enjoying being able to be in my pajamas and do all of my lives and do all of my virtual meetings and things. It's been awesome. I've also had the opportunity to really focus in on some of the things that some of my projects and my ongoing projects that I've not been able to put any time and effort to. I've been able to lay out some foundations for some of those projects and get some things rolling. I have been able to reacquaint myself with my first loves. I used to love to write. I used to love to draw. I used to love to do home improvement projects. So I've gotten a chance to get back into those, and it has been great. There has been so many valuable ways that me and my family and my friends have been connecting through, virtual platforms. That has been awesome. We've been on House Party. We've been on Zoom. We've been everywhere. We've been kicking it. And so it's been really awesome to develop those relationships and strengthen those relationships. And that has been so valuable to me. I'm hoping that it has been as valuable at it for you as it has been for me. I admonish you guys to definitely keep and hold on to those things that that you've used to connect yourselves, and some of those routines that you developed that's really enriched your life. I'm encouraging you to hold on to those, even when we go back into this new modern day civilization, whatever that is, whatever that means. Because I promise you, I feel like I've been living in Armageddon in Little House on the Prairie for a little while. So I am excited to be getting back to some level of normalcy with whatever the limitations are. And so I just want to make sure that I admonish you guys to hold on to those things that you have started, those routines that you started that really added the most value to your life. Find a way to keep a hold of those and keep the spirit of those alive, even when we move back into this new era. Okay. Today, I am going to be talking to you guys about developing a growth mindset. And I hope that by the end of this talk, you guys are going to have a better understanding of how your mindset dictates to you your behaviors, how it actually influences every aspect of your life, and how to develop the right mindset for where you are and where you want to be today. But first, I want to take a minute to introduce to some and remind others who I am and what I do. I am a former HR manager, and I have over 13 years in the field. Over the years, I have developed a niche for employee relations and really coaching others to become the best that they can be, better employees, improve their skills so that they're able to move up in the ranks of promotion wise, or so that they can build confidence to branch out on their own into entrepreneurship if they so choose to. I also this year, I became a full-time personal growth and mindset change coach. And so I have been actually coaching women through the journey to the very best version of themselves for over 2 years, but I've been doing it part-time, and I do this through one-on-one coaching. So this year I have taken it up a notch, kicked up the business a notch, and and I'm now doing it full time. And of course, I am your intellectual radio host, bringing you the empowering moments with Coach T right here on Intellectual Radio. So let's kick this show off with a quote from Thomas Toward. So Thomas was actually an English author and philosopher. And I chose his quote because, again, we're talking about mindset. And so he had a wonderful quote about mindset. So I'll read that to you. The action of mind, which is thought, plants that nucleus, which, if allowed to grow undisturbed, will eventually attract to itself all the conditions necessary for its manifestation in outward visible form. I chose this quote because I understand that the mind is sort of a holding ground for all of our thoughts. And if we cultivate it well, it unleashes a power within us to actually attract the very things that we need to fulfill our destiny, the plans that we make, the goals and objectives that we set. Essentially, any success that we have begins with a thought that was born in our mind. So that makes our mindset a very crucial part or asset to us in everything that we do. So I gave this talk last week on the Badass Women in Business Web Summit last week, and we had some great questions that came out of that. But rather than bore you with a 40-minute speech on how to develop a mindset, I am going to share with you the question and answer conversation today. Okay. So the first question is, what is a growth mindset? The best way to answer that question is to break down each word. So when you look at the word growth, growth is defined as a process by which we mature physically, mentally, and spiritually. In the general sense, growth is all about our physical stature and our belief system and how we connect to it. It's also defined as the process of increasing in amount, value, and importance. And I think this describes growth in the business sense. So it becomes about what we can offer, our how big is our offering. So, and what is our offering? Our gifts, our talents, our skill, our knowledge, our resources. Essentially, what do we bring to the table? And also, how much is that worth? In terms of your career, it could refer to your salary. In terms of romance, it could refer to whether or not your significant other actually sees you as marriage material. How important does that value of your offering make you to yourselves first and then to others? So when we put that in the sense of career, how valuable does your offering make you? Meaning, when you walk into a job interview and you sell your best self and you give them and you lay all of your offering on the table that you think is worth 70 or 80,000, yet they come back and offer you 60,000. Does that mean that you're not worth the 70, 80,000 that you thought you were worth? Absolutely not. It just means that you didn't make the case for them to see the value and why you actually are worth this $70,000, $80,000 that you're asking for. So the purpose is to sell yourself in a way so that others are able to see the same value in you that you see in yourself and pay you for it. So then that's the gain that we get from it. That's how it works for us. So given this definition of growth, I would think that it's almost a prerequisite to success, is it not? So now let's look at the word mindset. And it is our mental, feelings, opinions, and how we process information, how our thought process actually works, the specific things that we're drawn to, the things that we have a natural affinity to, a natural aptitude for, the familiar things that we do every day without thinking, like almost like being on autopilot. It's the daily routine that can, in some ways, make us predictable to others, all of which can really be compiled into a more concise definition of the word mindset, which is an established set of attitudes that we hold within ourselves. Our mindset, which is our individual set of attitudes, dictate the words that people hear when we speak, the behaviors that they see when we act, both positive and negative. And it also paints a picture in their minds about who we are. And it takes growth to mature that mindset. So essentially, essentially a mindset is a consistently maturing, is consistently maturing. So a growth mindset is a mindset that is consistently maturing. And as a result, it is the very identity that we present to the world every day. Okay. So the second question, where does the mindset come from? Where did it originate from? How was it formed? I believe that your original mindset was actually given to you when you were a child. The people around you, your family, your friends, your neighbors, your friends of friends, your teachers, your ministers actually taught you how to be a person. You learned so much from their words and their deeds, like who to trust, who to watch, what was right, what was wrong, what was acceptable, what was a disgrace, what was disrespectful, what was honorable, who to speak. I'm sorry, when to be quiet, when to fight, and possibly when to concede, where to go, where to stand, where to sit, how to act, how to speak, how to sit. These informational inputs became the lens by which you learn to see things through, and ultimately influenced how you process information. That is how your mind was formed, your mindset was formed. The next question is, how does our mindset dictate our behavior? I think the best way to explain how your mindset dictates your behavior is to compare a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. And so what do I mean by a fixed mindset? It's a mindset that doesn't change. It's not fluid. It resists change. It believes that things should always stay the same, or as it is now is the way it will always be. So let me give you a few examples of what that actually looks like so you can see how it actually dictates the behaviors that you have. So in a fixed mindset, it thinks failure is the limit to my abilities. Now, that means pretty much this is as good as it gets. And as a result, you tend to give up on things easily. But a growth mindset thinks any failure offers the opportunity for growth. And as a result, even if you do make a mistake, you dust yourself off, you figure out where you went wrong, and you rework it and you try it again. A fixed mindset will tell you to avoid challenges. And as a result, you hesitate to try new things. But a growth mindset would tell you to embrace those challenges. And as a result, you volunteer to try new things because you know that you'll learn something new that you didn't know before that you can add to your arsenal of things that you are able to do. A fixed mindset will tell you that feedback and criticism is a personal attack on your ability to produce anything in life. And as a result, you'll get defensive and angry when people give you feedback, thinking that they are trying to undermine you or really, really speak ill of you when they're really trying to help you. But a growth mindset says, I know that this will help me, even if it's difficult for me to hear it. And as a result, you take what is useful from that feedback for improvement and you strengthen. And if you're lucky, you'll strengthen a weakness. Okay. A fixed mindset will tell you, I can't ever improve. And as a result, you'll tend to get jealous when you see others progressing and being successful because you'll think that they're able to have something that you're not able to have, which is not true. But a growth mindset will tell you, I can learn anything that I want to. If it's really what I want to do, I can learn that. And as a result, you're inspired when other people have success. Why? Because you know that you understand that they've put in some work and they are really just reaping what they have sown. Understanding that if you continue to sow, you too will have a time of reaping. So you celebrate them because you know it's going to be your turn next. Last but not least, I want to give you this example. A fixed mindset will say there is no point in trying. And as a result, you'll probably stay stuck in a dead end job that you don't even like. And not because you don't think, and not because you like it so much, but because you don't think that you can do any better than what you are doing. Again, not true. But a growth mindset will tell you, I'm always going to keep trying and never give up. And as a result, you give each task, each project, each goal, each objective, everything you've got, all your time, all your effort, all your skills, all your knowledge, everything you've got until you realize the life that you want to have. So you must change. You have to improve. You have to grow. You must keep trying, pushing yourself from one level to the next and never giving up because you know that there is a payoff at the end. The question is, how bad do you want it? You are 100% responsible for your own growth, which means that if you don't put the work in and you don't take accountability for that, it actually may never happen. And you will never really know the full potential of what you can do, the full potential of your ability to accomplish your goals. And if you never reach your full potential, you will never realize the impact that you are meant to have on this world. And so each day that you don't give it, the world misses out on the greatness that is you. So now that I've given you this wonderful foundation, I want to talk a little bit to you about my coaching services. And so I offer one-on-one coaching services, one-on-one coaching services during which my clients are able to work on one area of self-improvement or a life challenge and get personal one-on-one assistance with gaining clarity, insight, and any mental power tools that you may need to help you identify, cultivate, and ultimately apply all of your gifts and talents. Together, we will examine where you are and where you want to go and work to fill that gap. I also teach techniques for utilizing all of your strengths and improving your weaknesses. And more importantly, how to work around your weaknesses while you are in the process of improving them to greatness. Okay. Beginning today, I am offering a special offer to receive one free bonus coaching session with your purchase of any of my services that I have available. You can pay as you go, or you can actually purchase a package of multiple sessions. Either way, it is searchable on I Am the Coach T on Facebook. There you can view the full list of my services and you can book a session today. Now, let's get back to empowering moments with Coach T, me, on Intellectual Radio as we continue to listen and learn how to develop a growth mindset. All right, so let's get back into it. The next question is, how does the mindset influence our areas of our life? How does it influence the other areas of our life? So in my experience and in my coaching sessions, I actually frequently use a tool called the Wheel of Life. And this is an exercise that I give my clients where they're able to grade themselves in 8 major areas of their life. Now, I use this to help me understand their current state. And it's a way for me to help understand where they are versus where they want to be and how to get them there and fill that gap. You can Google this concept, and you will find several variations of the life wheel and the things that are on the life wheel. Some have more things on the wheel, some have less things on the wheel. You could actually tweak those and add what you want to the wheel, whatever resonates best with you. These are the 8 that I use, though: finances, personal growth, health and wellness, family, relationships, social life, purpose, and career and business. And I'm going to show you how you can have a negative attitude or a positive attitude in these areas. Okay. So, in terms of your finances, if you have the mindset that you can't be a 6-figure earner, you won't really seek out the opportunities to increase your income. That's a negative attitude about finances and money. However, if you think the opposite way, in that you understand that the possibility does exist and you purpose to attain it, then that is a positive attitude. In terms of personal growth, if you think that you already are perfect and that nothing about you could use improving, then you are probably a narcissist. But more back to my point, that's a whole nother show. You probably would reject the idea of enrolling in couples therapy. That's a negative attitude about the concept of personal growth, because as far as you're concerned, it's never necessary for you. Which, by the way, couldn't be further from the truth, because there's always room for improvement. Perfection is something that we aspire to, but it is rarely something that we actually reach in the fullest sense of the word. But again, that's another show too. But if you know that you are a work in progress and are constantly working to improve yourself, then that is a positive attitude about personal growth. Health and wellness. If you think that exercise is essential to good health, and you might actually embrace the idea of initiating a daily workout routine and come to enjoy it. That's a positive attitude about health and wellness. However, on the other hand, if you think that it is a waste of time to go to the doctors because they just practice medicine, then that is a negative attitude, because I got to tell you, they practice it because they understand it in a way that you do not, because you are not a doctor and they are. Family and relationships. Now, I combine these two together because I have the example that's going to hit both. Two for the price of one, right? So if you think having children is nothing but a way for a man to tie you down and control you, and as a result, you don't really commit to relationships and you refuse to consider the thought of even conceiving a child, then you probably have a negative attitude about family and relationships. On the other hand, if you think children are a joy and the greatest gift that can add value to your life in a way that nothing else can, and as a result, you either aspire to or you already have built a committed relationship and raising a family, then you probably have a positive attitude about family and relationships. When it comes to your social life, if you hate, if you have the mindset that meeting new people comes easy to you and networking environments will be easy for you. However, that's a positive attitude about your social life. On the flip side of that, if you've decided that you're socially awkward, or that you don't know how to say the right things, and as a result, you isolate yourself from others, then that is a negative attitude about your social life. Last but not least, when it comes to career and business, if you have a great business idea that provides a need or solves a problem that you know people have, but you won't launch it because you feel like entrepreneurship is only for certain people, but not you, then you have a negative attitude about business. And on the other hand, if you believe that entrepreneurship is for anyone who wants to put the work in and is willing to do just that, then you, sir and ma'am, probably have a positive attitude about career and business. Again, so you see the power of your mindset, the power that it has on your life is astronomical. And so it makes having the right mindset key. It's a key thing that you need to have. But you have to decide that you are actually going to break free from the mindset that was given to you, from the mindset that was taught to you, and begin to create and define the mindset that is conducive for reaching your goals and objectives today. So now the next question is, how do we change our current mindset? How do we change our current mindset? Well, I have identified 4 steps to developing your growth mindset. The first step is to examine it. Examine your current attitudes using the 8 major areas of life that we just discussed. It's imperative that you really get clear about how you feel and what you think about yourself, what you think about things and even yourself within all of these areas of your life. I would advise that you make a list. Make a list, write it all down, write the vision, make it plain. You got to start with a list so you can see it. Sometimes we don't understand and we don't always know, and we're not always aware of what it is we do or don't do, how we feel or how we don't feel, how we think or how we don't think until we see it on paper. So write it down, make a list. Step number 2 is to separate it or categorize it. And what I mean is to separate or categorize your negative attitudes from your positive attitudes. So I would say review the list that you made and mark a P for positive or an N for negative, respectively, next to each one of those attitudes that you listed. So now you might be thinking, how am I supposed to know what's the difference between a positive attitude and a negative attitude? Here's a real simple way to know which one is which. Positive attitudes actually help you reach your goals and objectives. They are the things that push and propel you to continue to do well. Negative attitudes are the things that hinder you and they block the progress of you actually reaching your goals. That's how you're going to know which one is which. So after you make the list, examine it, make the list, you should categorize it or separate it. Decide which ones are negative and which ones are positive, which attitudes are negative, which attitudes are positive. Step 3 is to redefine and strengthen them. So redefine it, strengthen it. Positive attitudes need to be nurtured and they need to be perfected. And how do you do that? You do it with constant use. You use them every chance you get. You put them in rotation and hopefully you use them every day, all day, throughout the day, every second of the day, every minute of the day that you think about it, you should be using them. Negative attitudes need to be immediately deactivated. And how do you deactivate a negative attitude? By replacing it with a positive one. And then you immediately put that in the same rotation with all of the other positive attitudes that you're supposed to be using every day. The purpose is to get you in the habit of doing and saying things that align with your life plan. I'm going to say that again. The purpose is to get you in the habit of doing and saying things that align with your life plan. Excuse me. Hang on one second. Again, I got to get my throat together. Sorry about that. So again, the purpose is to get you into the habit of doing and saying things that align with your life plan. That's when you know that you have the right mindset. So, all right, I know I have given you a lot of information just then to digest. And so I want you to know that I believe that we all can admit, and I speak for myself first, that there are moments when our mindset has not just necessarily served us in the best way in actually achieving the success that we've wanted in our lives. And so as a result, at times we reach an impasse where we feel lost or we feel disconnected or even defeated or stuck. And in some instances, not knowing what to do next, not understanding what the next move should be. And even in some cases, feeling like you should be doing something else, but not even knowing what that something else is. There's a gnawing in you that there's something else that you should be doing, something else that you should be entertaining, something else that you should be participating in, something else that is going to be way more fulfilling than whatever it is that you're doing right now. And I say to you, I know that place. I have been there and I have coached clients through that place. All that is growth calling your name. It's calling for you to grow, calling for you to mature, calling for you to reach that next level of maturity, calling for you to change that mindset and step into this new mindset that is much better aligned with the plans and the goals and the objectives and that you have set for your life. You simply need to answer the call. You can't stay where you are. You have to grow. You have to move forward. And I can help you with that through my one-on-one coaching. You can follow me. You can also like and subscribe to me on my social media platforms at Facebook and Instagram. And I am the Coach T. That's one word. I am the Coach T. And you can also subscribe and like me and follow me on LinkedIn and YouTube. And I am the Coach T. Toria Renee. That's Toria space RENEE. You can book a session with me on Facebook, or you can email me directly at I am the Coach T. One word. I am the Coach T at gmail.com. Now, let's get back to empowering moments with me, Coach T, on Intellectual Radio so you can learn the final step to developing a growth mindset. Okay? So, and we're back. So, the next thing that I want to talk about, I want to lead into it first. So, when we make changes in our lives, it changes the way that we show up in the world as well. And everyone is not always going to be on board with that. As a matter of fact, that's why it's essential to protect the changes that you've made so that you don't fall back into old habits, so that you don't regress back into old behaviors. Because let's be clear, when you make changes, 25 people are going to tell you how this ain't going to work. That ain't going to work for you. You're not going to be able to do this. You can't, you won't, you will not. It's impossible. Do not listen. So you have to protect the work that you've done to build up the growth mindset that says that you can. So the fourth and final step is to protect it by overcoming major contributors to regression. For me, the two things that I had to deal with was misaligned associations and fear. Now, for you, it may be something else, and you probably need to figure out what those triggers are for you. So I'm going to share with you what it has been for me. Misaligned associations. So at some point, you have to adjust your relationship with people, places, and even things that can possibly disturb the new mindset that you've developed. Things that cause you to feel like you have to adjust your mindset just to be comfortable in that space. I'm going to take a minute and drink a sip of water because my throat is doing something weird. Let me give you an example. Have you ever found yourself hanging out with your friends and they're busy talking about their latest main squeeze and the new pair of shoes and, just the purse and, the new purse that they got. And then while they're talking about that, you're sitting here and sitting in the midst of them thinking about what's the best way you can market your business or what is the best way you can advance your career. And then you realize in that moment, that you can't even mention that to them in this segment because this is not the group of friends that can understand where you're coming from or what you're talking about because they don't even live in that space. And then you realize you probably would have been more fulfilled had you stayed home and opened up the self-help book or the how-to book that you've been sitting on your nightstand for a month that you have not opened that you probably should be reading. That's really, really going to help you get to where you want to go. But instead, you chime in with the same type of comments and it's an insignificant chatter because it's insignificant to you because your mind really, really ain't on that. Just to be able to fit in with them. I hate to break the news to you, but that means that you've outgrown them. And so that means that you need to set a different boundary. You need to refine that relationship because it's no longer working for you in that same way. So, of course, in some cases, maybe you have to realize that, okay, I can't hang out with this group all night. Maybe I can only do an hour or two with them, and then that's enough of my time because I need to devote it to being surrounded by those people that are more into what I'm into so that we can be a resource to each other. Now, of course, you're still going to be in some of these type of situations, and in which cases you need to know that you don't have to conform and you don't have to compromise your mindset just to do it. Instead, you can temporarily stretch yourself to adapt without abandoning your belief system. Never lose who you are. The other thing was fear. You cannot be afraid of change. You know, it has been my experience that making small, subtle changes is easier. But when you have to make a big change, a life change, it can really, really shake you and it can challenge you and you can become doubtful. Although you can't rewrite history. What you can do is every day that you wake up, you have the power to write a new chapter. You have a power to change the whole entire trajectory of your life, to do it differently, to do it better. So there is no need for you to ever be afraid because you just placed yourself in the driver's seat when you picked up the pen that said, I'm going to write this new chapter. Okay. So I'll give you this example. When I first started doing this show, I actually was afraid. I bombed, and everybody talked about how I was horrible at it, but that didn't stop me. And I went back to the board and I reworked that thing, and I found out that if I don't grow, I don't improve. And if I don't improve, I am not able to do the things that I want to do in my life. So I'm saying to you today, I am no longer afraid to promote who I am and what I do, my talents and my gifts, and even in the raw and unsharpened, because I know I can sharpen them along the way as I receive and utilize feedback and criticism, even if it's not said to me in the way that I would like to receive it. So I am encouraging you to develop your own ideas to the fullest extent that you have, and always and be ready to release that to the world. So, and if you should happen to get some backlash, take it all in stride and consider what you can use to perfect your craft and be the best that you can be, essentially building all of your human capital. So I say to you, boldly go out into the world knowing that you add value just because you are showing up. And that is how you should be developing a growth mindset. I want to take these last few minutes of the show and actually talk to you a little bit about what's going on in this world. But before I do that, if you have any questions or you want more information about how to develop a growth mindset, drop me a message on Facebook or Instagram at I am the Coach T. That's one word, I am the Coach T. Or you can email me at I am the Coach T at gmail.com. So I want to address the violence on our Black men and women. So I have purposely been quiet and I've not said much on social media or on any other platforms because I wanted to be very careful about the message that I wanted to send. I wanted to be very intentional about the words that I spoke, and I wanted to make sure that it definitely added value in this situation, because the last thing we need is more negativity. We need more positivity. So I want to make sure that everything that I'm about to say adds value. So I'm going to give it to you real straight. I have a couple of messages that I want to send. So I'm going to start with this first message. To those of you that have chosen to do harm to our Black men and women, that have made them become unintentional martyrs for the long fighting cause of civil rights and general civil justice that's supposed to be for all, I say to you, you will reap what you sow. And please know that it doesn't always come back to you in the same way that you dished it out. And only God's mercy can help you when the reaping does begin. So I would advise you to get to know him in a better way. To my brothers and sisters, if you are anything like me, you are praying for God to send some type of change for us. But I would admonish you that while you're down there on your knees praying, that you ask him to let the change begin in you. Be the change that you want to see. You know, we want the world to acknowledge the Black Lives Matter initiative, absent of making the same acknowledgement in our own communities. We send the message that Black lives really don't matter to us every time we purpose to do harm to one another, as long as there are gangs, savagery, hedonism, promiscuity, illegal drug sales, infidelity, and disrespectful insults that make for the hottest bars and song lyrics, and black on black crime, fights in the middle of the street over a $2 dude or do that. Domestic violence takes place in our neighborhoods, and innocent children keep being brought into this world without anyone caring to raise them and teach them anything worth knowing. Black lives will remain a watered down hashtag. For those of you who keep trying to make this argument about, well, other races commit crimes against each other all the time, and they're not, and so why do we have to change that? Why should that matter in this fight to justice and equality? Let me tell you why. I say to you, other races are clearly not the target here. Black people are. So we have to change the narrative of the Black man, and we won't ever be able to accomplish that if we keep giving them exactly what they want, which is that behavior that they have already decided that we exhibit and is the full essence of who we are, which we know not to be true. We must learn to love each other past our art or issue that we have with each other, past the jealousy, even past anger for what someone has done to us, and see the bigger picture. Black lives should matter so much to all of us that having an issue with a fellow Black brother or sister should be the last thing you are subscribing to. So when we all get back to embodying the all for one for all and all for one mentality, white America just might put a little bit of respect on our names. And then we can actively work towards Black lives truly mattering to everyone. My last message to those of you who can't seem to hear me as a Black woman say Black lives matter without feeling the need to respond with, well, all lives matter. That's a problem for me. And it's probably a problem for every other Black person in America that understands the gravity of what's going on today. And let me paint the picture to you why. If a sheep herder is tending 100 sheep and one goes missing, the sheep herder will leave the 99 to go after the one. Now, the 99 might say, well, what about us? Don't we matter? Stay here with me. I promise you I'm taking you somewhere, and we're going to end it real quick. Does the action truly indicate that the herder cared for the 99 any less? Does the value of their lives not matter? Absolutely not. But every minute the one sheep is missing is a minute its life is in danger. Therefore, restoring that one sheep to the flock becomes more important than walking alongside the 99 sheep that are already gathered together. Hopefully, after having heard this, the next time you hear Black Lives Matter, you will respond with something like this. Indeed, they do. And if not, I'm asking you to say nothing. Your silence will be appreciated. This has been Empowering Moments with Coach T on Intellectual Radio. See you guys next month. Sunday, July the 19th at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until then, I am the Coach T. And remember, just be you. And that's a wrap.
Come on. Yeah. I see you, baby. Get your shine on.